I've reviewed Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance after 100%, now I want to talk about and rank which characters have improved the most from the original story to Vengeance.
Hey, you heading back alone?
Yuzuru. So originally one of the big criticisms was characters like Yuzuru disappear for a huge part of the story, then just reappear for the ending and finale. It was a pity because he seemed like a cool dude, he even offers to walk home with you at the start of the game.
You should walk with us.
And I always liked his demon partner, Hayao. He was pretty cool as well.
I am Hayao, currently assigned to support Sire Yuzuru.
They massively change up Yuzuru, and instead of him just being absent, we get to fight Yuzuru as an early boss. He becomes a temporary party member later on, and there's even a bit of conflict between him and his classmate.
You think you can just fly in and be a hero?
So a little bit into the story, his sister Miyazu has been kidnapped by the Kiditsu, and Yuzuru is forced to fight us to save his sister's life. At first this did feel a little bit questionable, even Hayao questions this.
You must see reason.
But from the start of the game, Yuzuru hints at his loyalties. We know that Miyazu is the only family he has, and he'd do anything for his family. And this is where the arc gets a bit more interesting this time. His sister rejects his protection, and Yuzuru kind of loses himself and rebuilds himself, with the motivation and new goal to become a Nahabino.
I'm going to become a Nahobino.
So far, I like his new story and Vengeance, but it all comes full circle when his new ambitions get him killed by Ichirio. Maybe a little karma from when he took his frustrations out on Ichirio earlier. Ironically, if Yuzuru didn't find his new ambition to become a Nahobino, he might have made it to the end. While in the original, it's possible to reach a finale where he does become Nahobino, and while that was awesome, I do much prefer Yuzuru being a major part of the story throughout. I'm gonna give Vengeance Yuzuru an S tier. Love the changes, he's a lot more active in the story, and his fate is a bit tragic. Quickie, here on Peter Bytes Cover RPGs, bit of Final Fantasy, but my Shin Megami Tensei review is so late because I don't get review copies like other big organisations, some of who don't even finish a game's main campaign before they review it. I want to level up my subscriber count, get noticed and earn review copies. So any subs or likes are an amazing help. Thank you.
Young man, if you wish to live, take my hand.
Aogami. I'll be honest, Aogami was already a huge part of the Shin Megami Tensei 5 story, so going into Vengeance I wasn't expecting much to change. So pretty shocking and mind-blown when Aogami dies to protect us from the Kiditsu about 2/3 of the way into the story. Pretty massive change over the original story, shocking stuff, and it's stuff like this that has made Vengeance really fun to play. Hayao replaces Aogami so we can become Nahobino, and honestly I didn't think the new Nahobino form was as cool as the original. Am I alone on that? But I really loved it when Aogami returns during the final battle and makes a callback to the start of the game.
Young man, if you wish to live, take my hand.
I loved this moment and callback. I'm gonna give Aogami an A. He was already a major player and his return was a pretty epic moment.
So word on the street is a bunch of monsters have been seen hanging around this tunnel. Yow! Sheesh!
Okay, Ichirio. Ichirio has the character arc I enjoyed the most in the original. Starts out a bit goofy, incredibly insecure, and feels worthless.
Look, I'm borderline useless at school.
Ichirio strives to do better and looks for advice in Archangel Abdiel's teachings. Ultimately, Ichirio's vulnerabilities are exploited by religion, and he gets a bit caught up in serving God and gets hungry for power. There was this pretty goofy scene in the original where we catch Ichirio talking to himself. He takes off his cap and becomes twisted and evil. I liked his whole journey, but I admit this was pretty goofy. So what changes with Ichirio in Vengeance? Well, he starts out as feeling incredibly insecure and worthless, but in my opinion this time it's all magnified. You've got Yuzuru kicking off at him for failing to protect his sister, and I think that's just planting even more of those seeds of chaos in Ichirio, and it makes his journey a little easier to understand.
You think you can just fly in and be a hero?
Archangel Masterman blesses Ichirio with power, and a really twisted Ichirio announces his goals and orders Yuzuru's execution. While he doesn't want Yuzuru to become Nahobino, it feels like it's more personal after what's happened previously. This is a much more powerful moment that really sets up Ichirio as a villain, compared to talking to himself in that goofy scene in the original. Because of these developments, defeating Ichirio is now satisfying and it's avenging Yuzuru. When you've defeated him, it all comes full circle.
A loser? I guess I haven't changed.
Again, just like Yuzuru, we don't get to see their Nahobino forms, which were in the original story, but still, overall, a much better character story. While already a good character, I'm going to give Ichiro's improvements an S tier. I love his journey and it shows just how insecurities can twist you up or leave you vulnerable to be exploited.
Oh! Hey, you two! Over here!
Tao. Again, Tao was already a major presence in the original story. With the addition of the new character Yoko in Vengeance, we get to see Yoko influence and change Tao. Even Aogami notices this.
I am observing a change in the saint's personality and behavior. It seems to be due to Yoko's influence.
But because of this, we see Tao step up and save her friend from the demon Lamu, compared to the original where her friend dies to Lamu. I thought it was pretty cool in the moment. It was a pretty huge story change. Well, until the Kidetsu jump in and kill them anyway. Tao also sticks around longer and is a bit more of an active party member. In the original, Tao also dies to Lamu, while in Vengeance she sticks around and helps out till the Kidetsu get her. In both she returns in her goddess form and her personality becomes a bit more robotic. I'm gonna give her an A, just for there being more of her.
Hi there.
Miyazu, a more minor character in the original. There was a side quest where you had to save her from Khonsu. This time in Vengeance she's a bit more fleshed out. She's first kidnapped by the Kidetsu, and that then seems to fuel her choice to then join with Khonsu and enter his protection, rather than being a burden to her brother that needs saving all the time.
I also know that I'm a burden on you, and I don't want to be anymore.
And this is all part of the main story, as opposed to being side content. Still a minor character, but much more active in the story. B rank.
Take solace in our meeting, boy. I'll make your death a painless one.
Yakumo. This is the mysterious dude who goes around in a police uniform, and his goal is to create a world without demons or gods.
Humanity has been used and discarded by gods and demons alike.
While in the original he just confronts you. This time in Vengeance he has a little scuffle with Yuzuru. Yakumo wants to keep the Kidetsu's trap active and kill the Kidetsu when they come back to claim their prize, while Yuzuru wants to destroy the trap so that no human lives are lost. And it's a clash of alignments and provides a proper motivation to fight this guy. Vengeance gives a little bit more background to Yakumo. When he was younger he tried to kill Nuwa, but he couldn't. And I really like that you can just straight up tell him he's a massive hypocrite.
You're just a hypocrite.
He wants to delete demons from existence, but he clearly loves Nuwa. Later in the game, Nuwa sacrifices herself to save Yakumo. He grows and even admits he was a hypocrite, and spends his time defending humans from invading demons in Tokyo.
Because she saw how much of a hypocrite I really was.
I always like these guys. While in the original we got to see their Nahobino form, and their deaths were pretty heartbreaking, I think I prefer how Vengeance tells their story, and Yakumo gets to stay alive. A rank. And a few quick mentions.
I am Khonsu of Bethel, Egypt. What business do you have with me?
Khonsu, now this guy was on the front cover and barely in the original game. He's definitely a bit more integrated into the main story with Miyazu now. Starting with when his green arm appears to save her. There's only 3 people I know with green arms. Shrek, Hulk and Khonsu. Was happy to realise it was him. B rank.
I see. He protected you. If only I could have done the same.
Hayao. We definitely see a lot more of this guy with him taking Aogami's place for a big chunk of the story. He's not a super charismatic character, but I liked how in the good ending, he sacrifices himself to save Tao from dying. B tier.
Am I to understand you went against the condemnation?
Abdiel. I think out of everyone I prefer how Abdiel was dealt with in the original, where at the God Summit you humiliate her in front of the other gods, just further fueling her against the Nahobino. She ends up becoming a massive hypocrite who becomes a Nahobino.
God's order must be preserved.
While in Vengeance we don't get any of that. C tier. While Yoko and the Kidetsu weren't in the original story at all, there's nothing to compare, they're still amazing additions. Do you like the story changes with Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance? Let me know in the comments, and peace for now.